end on some feel-good moment. But it's very hard to feel good about the fact that a 7-year-old girl ends up being murdered as a result of suffering so much abuse at home, and no one stepped up to the plate to do something about it. Right. I get what they were trying to do with that message, but I didn't feel good about it any of the times that I sat there and watched it.
Me either. There's no way that you can go ahead and send a feel-good moment with a song of that nature. You can't. No matter how much you think you're going to try, that's not going to happen. No way. Concrete Angel, I think, is an appropriate title for the song. She was an angel, and she ended up concrete stone. There's no question it was definitely a well thought of song. But then again, Martina McBride, I got to go back to her for a moment, okay? I can only imagine what she had to do to write that song, knowing that she probably had to make sure that she wrote it in a way to get the message across as strong as it was. When you talk about recording artists, and there are a lot of great recording artists out there that do so many wonderful things, what do you think goes through their mind when they write a song like this?
You know, you really have to have a strong spirit and a good consciousness, and you really have to make sure your mind's in a good place. Because, you know, like I said, I give her kudos and props just for being able to write this song, especially put this video together, because you can only imagine the emotions that she was going through, even though this was a plot that they were putting together throughout this video. Well, this is not just a plot. This is something realistic. Even though, obviously, the people who were displayed throughout the video, they didn't actually die, but there are people who are actually dying, especially children, as a result from things that are happening directly like that. So I can only imagine what it is that the strength that it took for her to be able to put that together. Scott, I'm going to bring another song into play here where you see similar instances that are going on. I'm going to bring a couple of songs into play here.
All right.
There's Tupac Shakur's Brenda's Got a Baby. That's one of my favorite songs, throughout any artist. And, I mean, you know me, you know how much of a Tupac fan I really am. But I say that to say that throughout the song, he's showing this young teenage mother who's having a baby, and she didn't have the baby on purpose. She actually ended up being raped. And, you know, those things happen too. But throughout the song, she has the baby. She's not getting any support from her parents. She is not discussing what exactly happened with her that ends up with her getting raped. And we see that happen a lot too. You see a lot of people who end up getting sexually abused and raped, and they don't end up saying anything about it. Right. And I don't judge them for that, because I can only imagine how traumatic that is for them.
Right.
Especially when it happens with someone who you thought loved you and you thought would protect you and you thought that you could trust.
Right.
And, you know, that's why I understand now why in certain families so many people are very careful with allowing other relatives or other close family friends to spoil their children with anything they want to give them.
Right.
Whether it's shoes, whether it's clothes, whether it's food, no matter what it is. Because you don't want to assume things like that about someone. But with everything that goes on, and with what we watch on the news, with what we hear on the news, what we hear on the radio, and things that we hear that are happening in our communities, you can't help but to think that that's a possibility that could be taking place. Because when things like that take place, more times than not, it's usually someone that you know who does the action. And that's what's even more unfortunate about all of this. Right. Now, throughout the song, Brenda's Got a Baby, Brenda's not getting any help. Her parents aren't helping her. And she ends up throwing the baby in the dumpster. You know, of course, that shouldn't have been done. And I don't sympathize with Brenda for throwing the baby in the dumpster, but that's just one case of more abuse that's being done there. It's not child abuse, but it's a form of sexual abuse.
Right.
Another very serious form of abuse that is taking place in our world today. And that's just one song in particular. Then there is Kirk Franklin's Lean on Me. And throughout the song, he has very featured guests in there. Mary J. Blige, R. Kelly. We already know about R. Kelly today and things that he's involved in, that he's been involved in over the years. We're not going to get into that. We're going to focus on this song here.
Right.
So before anybody hears the name R. Kelly, just listen at what I'm saying here. Because there are 4 instances that take place throughout the song. You have a sick child, but you have a child that's suffering from abuse. You have a child that's searching for a father and a friend. And, I like the message in that song in particular because the message of the song is, I am here. You don't have to worry about a thing. I see your tears. Here's my shoulder. You can lean on me. And I love the message in that song because even though they're showing these things that are being done, they somewhat end up finding resolutions to these problems for the people who are going through these certain things, these certain situations, in particular the children throughout these songs. It's a very beautiful song. It's a very beautiful message. I would encourage anyone to go listen at that song as well. It's Kirk Franklin's Lean on Me. Maybe some of you have heard it before. Maybe some of you have not. It's a very beautiful song. And please don't let the fact that R. Kelly is featured on the song turn you away from not wanting to listen to it, because he's not the purpose of the song. It's a very beautiful song. It's a song that's about encouragement, and there's also a music video to that song as well. And it tells a lot of stories, too, very similar to Concrete Angel. And I would also encourage you to go listen to Tupac's Brenda's Got a Baby. Another good song to go listen to with another good music video. Now, I say what I said about Kirk Franklin's Lean on Me in that message that I just said that's in that song. If that little girl could have only had somebody who lived by that type of message
right.
in Concrete Angel,
mm-hmm.
we would have avoided all of this from happening.
Right.
Just one person who would have said, no, stop, no, no.
Right.
The little girl never actually showed tears throughout the song, but you can tell through her facial expression she was very depressed, she was very sad, and there was something that was going on.
Oh, yeah.
And not one time throughout the song did someone, especially an adult, go, sweetie, talk to me.
Right.
What's going on? Where did these bruises come from?
Right.
Why are you so sad? Because while in some cases there are children who won't talk about it because they're already frantically frightened enough by what it is that they're going through, some of these children will open up to tell people what's going on with them because it's really a cry for help, like, get me out of here. And I believe that in this video, this little girl actually would have ended up doing that, had someone actually taken the effort to do it. And even if she didn't, it's about putting the effort forward to actually find out what's going on
right.
and to do the best thing by the little girl.
Right. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Somebody, and that's the thing that really blows my mind about the whole thing, is not one individual did bother to ask her. And now whether the song was written up that way to emphasize this or not, I don't know. We don't know what goes on in many other instances. We don't know. Of course, depending on when that song was made versus what the outcome is. But still, I never saw any of that either. And the only one that could have, I'll go back to what I said before, was that teacher. Why did that teacher not ask that child what was going on when it was visual? Guess we'll never know. But unfortunately, you obviously work for a television station. You do a lot of stuff in the digital department, and you see a lot. How many cases of child abuse do you see on the streets that your station has to deal with?
It's usually very rare, believe it or not, Scott. What I see in more cases are people who abuse animals and sexually abuse women in particular. That's more of what it is I see. I don't usually hear, see, and read and have to write about too many instances of people abusing children.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's one of those humbling things that we all have to deal with. I mean, do you find a lot of these things? I know you're on Facebook, you're into digital marketing. How many things do you run across on Facebook or other forms of social media that you've noticed that you bother to open it up and read about it?
Well, Scott, I'm actually glad that you brought that up, because something like that happened with me earlier today before I went to even listen to and watch Concrete Angel for the first time. One of my friends and colleagues who I went to college with shared a video on her Instagram page. And it was a video of this little 13-year-old boy who he had lots of skin that was missing off of him. He looked like he had been burned a lot.
Wow.
And before I even opened up the video, it immediately drew my attention because I saw a caption that she wrote above it with wow and many sad face emojis and a broken heart emoji as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, obviously this is something serious. Mm-hmm. And at first I'm not even sure what it is, but this is a case of this young boy who ends up being abused as well, but it's not through someone using their hand. It's through another form of ways that you can abuse people too. And this is something that I want to bring to everybody's mindset and their psyche right now. It's not just people who are using their hands, who are using belts, who are using switches, who are using brooms, mops, dustpans. Some people still using electric cords.
Right.
It's not even just that. This little boy had lots of skin missing off of him because his mother decided to wake him up by pouring a pot of boiling hot water over him while he was sleeping.
Unreal. Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't know how a person could live with themselves when they do stuff like that. Don't know it. So let's go ahead and summarize the whole night that we've had. You know, we looked at a song that I've seen so many times, and I like to watch it because it's just a distinct reminder of the society that we lived in. It obviously brought up reminds me of sometimes what many of us as children had to live with growing up as a kid. And you talk about self-defense, but in that young girl's case, she never had the ability to do it anyhow except stand there and take it. So as we try to put a bow on this whole thing, do you feel any differently about whether or not you would defend yourself against somebody much older than you, whether it's a parent or whatnot, after watching a video like this?
Yes, I do, Scott, because that is an absolute shame that none of those adults stepped up to the plate, or someone who knew of something that they could do about that situation to avoid the inevitable ending up happening. There is no excuse for that. Right. Someone should have went and called the police. Someone should have went and got help. Someone should have came and dealt with the mother if they had to deal with her physically as well. So, my entire tune has indeed changed on that, and I'm not sure if that's the point that you wanted me to get out of this, but this was definitely an eye-opener for me in particular. I still stand on my stance of wanting to bring more awareness to these issues, and that's not going to change. But I'm going to say this right now, and this is the best way I can put it. If you have to knock someone the hell out to get them off of you, knock that person the hell out.
What about as a child, though? Do you fight back at that point? Do you fight back against your mother and father?
If you have to.
Yeah.
If you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah, it's called
self-defense. Whether you have to use your hands, whether you have to use your feet, whether you have to pick up something around you and smack somebody with it to get them away from you.
Right.
Because you could easily be what that little girl was.
Dead.
Self-defense,
dead. So anybody that's going to sit here and tell me don't hit anybody older than you, self